And welcome back to Real Talk Sports with Rico. Today's show, we're jumping into the NBA playoffs. We're doing round two, the reactions to round two, and where we are at in these particular series. I'm going to be starting off with, I think, one of the best series that has been out there in round two, which is the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks. If you watch this game, whoa, the Pacers really put it on the Knicks today, making it a 2-2 series, guys. So we're going to jump into the box score. And man, what a comeback, I think, for the Pacers. Really, just for them to come out here and really, I think, gut punch the Knicks like this was really incredible for the Pacers. So I have to give Rick Carlisle a lot of credit here, especially after going at the refs and the physicality of the game. But for him to really answer the bell like this, guys, has been incredible. So, look, starting with the Pacers, I think that the one thing that we're going to really throw out here is what TJ McCollum, has been able to do for this roster. I think that he's been outstanding over the last couple games. I think that he's been the answer for Jalen Brunson, and not saying that anybody can necessarily stop Jalen Brunson, but I think that Jalen Brunson has been slowed down because of the defense from McConnell. I think that he's been terrific. I think that he was an excellent piece for the Philadelphia 76ers when he was there as well. And look, 15 points, guys, today. He was 2 of 2 from downtown, so did a great job in stretching the floor. But more or less 6 of 12. I mean, he did a great job getting downhill, and a lot of his shots that were missed led to great rebounding, and the assist ratios were off the chain. Look at that plus 27 in the box score. Another guy who's really, really impressed me in this series has been Obi Toppin. All right. And so I was just talking about the 2021 draft. I think he was in, or 2020 draft, one of those. But I think that Obi Toppin was an absolute steal in this draft. Now that we look at it, he certainly can jump out the building, but he's developed into a great three-point shooter as well. 2 of 3 off the bench. The guy is putting down electric dunks in the game. I'm talking about going in between the legs, throwing it behind his head. Like, he really has given the Indiana Pacers another level of just dynamic excitement out here. And so the Pacers, we knew that they could run. We knew that they could score with the best of them. They couldn't defend at a high level, but man, they have looked really great. So I think that he's done a terrific job. And the one thing that I will say about the Pacers that shocked me is that without, one of their key pieces, Ben Mathurin, I thought that they were going to struggle with shooting the basketball, but Benedict Mathurin's absence has been really lessened because Nimhart has played so well. Today, he only had 9 points. He struggled with his shot, but he's always looked like a guy that's been there for me. I loved watching him in Gonzaga. I thought that he was probably one of the best guards in the country when he played there. So I think you see a lot of that poise that Mark Pugh, I think, gives his players out there in Gonzaga. So I see that with him. And Pascal Siakam, quiet as is kept, this might be one of the best situations for Pascal. I think that he really flourished when he was with the Pacers at the time, and he wasn't having to be the number one guy. This is what you want out of Pascal, to come out and get you the 14 points and not have to worry about going 30 plus. I think was huge for him today. So he played well inside. Miles Turner, got to take my hats off to him. He's been knocking down the shots. On the other side of the ball with the Knicks, the one thing that I'm seeing with the Knicks is that it reminds me a lot of my Chicago Bulls back in the day when they had Derrick Rose as a pivotal piece in their roster. We would get into situations where we would just run out of gas, and it's because Tibbs plays you a lot of minutes. And I think we're starting to see that with the Knicks, unfortunately. I think that Brunson is hurt. I think he's a lot hurter than what he's leading on to right now. This is probably one of his lower scoring outputs today with the 18 points. But really, you look at the minus 27 in the box score, and more importantly, 0 of 0 of 5 from downtown today. So he really struggled as far as getting his shots up. And, he got to the line. He was 6 of 9. He usually hits a lot more than that, but the efficiency from the field was terrible with the 6 of 17. So I think they did a great job of taking him away. Josh Hart, who's had to be a primary scorer for this roster, only 2 points today. That hurt. Took away Devin Gento. He could not find the bottom of the rim. 1 of 6. He's one of the better three-point shooters in the NBA. And I think that the fact that they don't have a Nobley out there, okay, a Nobley to me, and I said this before, I think he's one of the modern day Luau Dangs. And I think for him not being out there is a real tough situation for the Knicks, even though they did find offense with McBride with 16 and Alex Burke off the bench. I think that now, to me, I think that he's going to have to go to Bogey off the bench, to me, to be honest with you. I think that that's what Tibbs is going to have to do. He's going to need to get some guys that can literally shoot the basketball, and that's going to, I think, help out that's going to help out the Knicks down the stretch here. Is they've got to find a way to to get more baskets to outscore the Pacers. Because that rebounding advantage that they had before with Mitchell Robinson, now that's gone. All right, and so I think they figured out Heitenstein or a lot inside. So I think that that's going to be tough for them. I think that the Pacers are rebounding a little bit better. So yeah, they've got to find a way to score the basketball a little bit better, and they've got to use some of the bodies that they have not used before. And so I still like the Knicks in this series, but I must say that my belief in the Knicks is starting to go down less and lesser each game as this game drags along because they are injured. I certainly don't like their chances moving forward, but they are going back home. I expect for that crowd to be ruckus. Spike Lee and those guys are going to be going crazy, and I think that they're going to play extremely, extremely hard here. So, with that being said, guys, that is that particular series. Now it's the time of the show where we're going to now look into the other series that are going on here. I know that we have the Denver Nuggets and the Timberwolves coming up, and I must say for me, that was really a shocker for me. I think that I thought that the Nuggets were going to go ahead and be able to go up, at least 1-1 going into Minnesota. But the fact that they gave up both home court games, and then they're going to have to claw themselves back, that was very interesting to me. So, I'm going to go ahead and bring that up, and we're going to take a look at that and just kind of get thoughts about this one. But I think that was a shocker. I expected that the Nuggets were going to come out and be a lot better than what they were. But I will say this with the Nuggets. I think the one thing that has probably slowed them down is that Jamal Murray has been injured. And I think that Jamal Murray had a bounce back game in this last game. Okay. And so I'm not sure how hobbled he is with the calf, but he has to be the answer to Anthony Edwards. I think right now, nobody's really been able to challenge Anthony Edwards. Okay. Bradley Beal certainly didn't do it. The only one that could really challenge him, I think, in the West is going to be a Shea Gillis, and I think it's going to be Jamal Murray, especially if healthy. So what Jamal Murray was able to do in this last game, he's going to have to do it tonight. He's going to have to be aggressive. He can't just settle for shooting three-pointers, and he can't just bail Anthony Edwards out and allowing him to play spotty defense, and not saying that he's a spotty defender, but he cannot get Anthony Edwards possessions off on the defensive end. He's got to go right back at him. That's going to take away his energy level. That's going to get him out of those 40-point plus games. And I think that that's going to make him a bit more tired. It's going to make him tougher as the decision maker now because he's tired then. All right. So he's not going to be able to just kind of dissect your defense up that way. I think that Denver did a great job in limiting Niles Reed out there. I think that was huge for them, really taking away their sixth man, because that's an advantage that I think the Timberwolves absolutely have is off the bench. So the Nuggets neutralizing that, I think, is going to help the Nuggets get back into the series. And I expect the Nuggets to come out like champions today. I did like what Anthony Edwards had to say in a chippy game last game that said, hey, this is the first of four. All right. So it's not a one-game series. So I love the maturity about Anthony Edwards. And I just think that shameless plug, he should have been in the top three, I think, considerations for the league MVP. I think that that's just atrocious that he wasn't involved in that. But nevertheless, anyway, I like the Nuggets to get back into this series. I think that this series, also like the Pacers and Knicks series, will be 2-2. Next up, the Thunder and the Mavs. And this is a bit of a shocker to me. I do have the Thunder winning this particular series. I didn't have the Mavs up in this series, but they did a great job in going out there and getting the split in OKC. They did a terrific job, I think, in going into to Dallas this last game and getting a win there and protecting the home court. The one thing that's intriguing about me to the Dallas or about the Dallas Mavericks is this. There's only one double figure scorer outside of Luka and Kyrie, and it is PJ Washington. And that just goes and echoes really the talk around sports about the Dallas Mavericks making perhaps probably the best moves at the trade deadline. I think that them picking up PJ Washington, them picking up Gafford, I think that that was probably some of the biggest trades that possibly happened at the trade deadline. And I think it has put Dallas in a terrific situation because now with the Luka and Kyrie up there, where defense is sometimes optional for them, if they get beat, they have some height, they have some length back there, and they have a wing that is able to cover up a lot of those mistakes. And so I tell people all the time there's two different levels of NBA or defense in general in basketball. You're either an elite on ball defender or you're terrific at being an off the ball defender. And so that allows that now you can see Luka and you can see Kyrie be a little bit more active in the passing lane, which I think that that's where they thrive on too. And I will say this last thing about the Dallas Mavericks. When they added Gafford over there, right, to go with Lively, I think this is what Jason Kidd envisioned, right? This, when he won a title with the Mavs, they had a big like Tyson Chandler, and they have bigs that are a lot like Tyson Chandler. All right. They're not erasing blocks and things like that and getting massive rebounds, but they're starting to trend in that way. So, I mean, the Mavs can be scary, especially if they're hitting shots, but I still like OKC in this one. I think that they're going to respond. It was the first time they lost in the playoffs over the last two games. And so they've had a 2-game losing streak, but I expect to see them now respond like the number one seed. And they've already played like a team that is not young or one of the youngest teams ever to be the number one seed. So I like OKC to come back. Shea Gillis is getting everything that he wants to get. They're staying together. It was a close game, 105 to 101. I think the Thunder pull it out and make this a 2-2 series as well, going back to OKC. The last series, the Celtics and the Cavs. And so, look, I have the Celtics winning this particular series. I did like the response of the Cavs to go into Boston and get them a W. But much like the Knicks, I think that the Cavs are probably going to be in a bit of trouble because the injuries are starting to pile up. I did not like what I saw last night with Evan Mobley. They're already missing Jarrett Allen, who to me is like one of my favorite bigs in all the NBA. And if you're going to beat the Celtics, you're going to have to beat them up inside. I already said that they were vulnerable coming into the playoffs because I did not trust Porzingis. I didn't trust Kristaps Porzingis, and much like I predicted, he is injured a lot like he was injured when he was with the Wizards. He was injured with the Mavs. He was constantly injured with the Knicks. And so that's why I think the Celtics can be had. But right now, I think the Celtics are clearly going to get out of this series, but they're going to have trouble, I think, with either team coming out of the other series because they've got a little bit more of an inside advantage. But we'll talk about that when time comes. So right now, I expect for the Boston Celtics to continue to get everything that they wanted. I think it was just pretty much an indication of how things were going when you got Jason Tatum late in the shot clock with Max Strus in your face. You turn around and you drop a turnaround jumper in his face, nothing but net with the shot clock winding down. I'm like, that's pretty much the Celtics, man. You have no answer for them or Jaylen Brown. Al Horford's out there hitting you for buckets. No, they've done a terrific job. So I like what they're doing. Drew Holiday's out there playing passing lanes and getting 3-pointers and stuff like that. Nothing you can do with that. Luke Cornett's eating them up inside. They don't have a big. So I just think that the Cavs have run into just the Celtics. Like they don't have any bigs that could possibly beat them up. And the Celtics are doing everything that they want to do right now. So, with that being said, guys, that is going to be today's show. Talking about the NBA, we talked a little bit here as to what's going on with each series. If you're looking at this podcast right now, the Denver Nuggets are going to play the Timberwolves tonight. I like Denver to get the split here. And just want to thank everybody who's watched the podcast, listened to the podcast. Thank you for the sponsors who put sponsorship on the podcast. Appreciate the feedback, guys. It helps us drive stories to this thing. And as usual, guys, this is Rico. This is Real Talk Sports. I will see you guys on the next one. Got a lot to talk about, man. NFL draft. I still want to talk to you guys about that. Still got a lot of topics coming up here with the NBA. And how about the WNBA set to take off on Tuesday? Man, I can't wait to get out to some games. All right, guys. Peace. This is Real Talk Sports with Rico. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, peace, peace.